Network. And today, the topic is the role of education in promoting human rights. Human rights education promotes values, beliefs, and attitudes that encourage all individuals uphold their own rights and those of others. It develops an understanding of everyone's common responsibility to make human rights a reality in each community. Thank you. Good afternoon. What is actually human rights education? Human rights education, it's all about equipping people with the knowledge, skills, and values to recognize, claim, and defend their rights. Various human rights organizations and representatives have defined human rights education in their own ways. Where are some of the most prominent definitions? I will introduce them. The first one, education, training, and information aimed at building a universal culture of human rights. A comprehensive education in human rights not only provides knowledge about human rights and the mechanisms that protect them, but also imparts the skills needed to promote, defend, and apply human rights in daily life. Human rights education fosters the attitudes and behaviors needed to uphold. I don't know what happened. Am I still audible?
Yes. Yes, Corina.
Okay. Something happened here. This was said in United Nations World Program. The second one, through human rights education, you can empower yourself and others to develop the skills and attitudes that promote equality, dignity, and respect in your community, society, and of course, worldwide. Amnesty International. The third one, human rights education builds knowledge, skills, and attitudes, prompting behavior that upholds human rights. It is a process of empowerment which helps identify human rights problems and seek solutions in line with human rights principles. It is based on the understanding of our own responsibility to make human rights a reality in our community and society at large. Navi Pillay, former United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. So today, we have the honor to participate in this webinar organized by Global Education Network, in which speakers will shed light on pressing issues and share actionable insights. Topics to be covered today include digital importance in human rights promotion, human rights education and best practices, freedom of expression, and human rights and media. So please stay close, and I wish you a nice and beneficial time with our guest. Over to you, Rita.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much, Corina, for this presentation. Thank you for this introduction. And we will begin our webinar. I hope everyone here is interested in this topic. I think that all of us that are please silence, please close your microphones so that everyone could listen. Thank you. I hope everyone is interested in this topic. This topic, human rights and education, is very important for all of us. We all need to know about human rights. We all need to know how we could promote education through human rights, or how we could promote human rights through education. Yes, so let's begin with our first speaker. Yes, Corina, do you have the bio, or do you want me to present him?
Please go on. No, I don't have his bio.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, our first presenter will be Andres Rodriguez from Ecuador. Yes, and he will talk about human rights and education, the human rights that are promoted during education, the ones that we should know when we are talking about education. Thank you, Andres. Would you continue, please?
Thank you so much for your introductory and kind words, Dr. Rita. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. Dr. Corina, Dr. Mohedin, all the Global Educators Network, thanks for being here in this very interesting topic, which is related to human rights, okay? So the first thing that comes to my mind before I prepare this introduction to you is that human rights is not only the the statements that the Declaration of Human Rights many years ago they have stated or written. Can I share my slides right now? Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, as I was mentioning, human rights, they are not only based basically on the statements or the things that we say for the people that they need to have the same opportunities or they equally are born, especially in education, which is the topic that we are concerned. No, I'm clear with this statement, with this quote, which is about education, which is the most powerful tools in lifting excluded children and adults out of poverty and a stepping stone to other fundamental human rights. Let's imagine a world without it. Well, so there are some countries in the world and there are some continents that they are excluded and their citizens, they don't have quality education, or maybe the governments try to do their best, but the opportunities or the inequality or the poverty or other conditions that exclude people, unfortunately, they are not concerned about this. So education in our hands is powerful because we can do many interesting things, okay? So thanks to human rights, because professors, teachers, authorities, and governments, they can implement different protective laws for people that they suffer damage, that they have loss of different things at schools, no? So this is a very contradictory topic that we humans need to debate around the circumstances about human education. How can we support, how can we help many people around the world? No, so this is the first thing, this is the first question that I want you to pose in this introduction. And another one that I want you to share is this quote about UNESCO. All humans beings are born to be free and equals in dignity and rights. Okay, many years ago, when the Declaration of Humans, after some period of slavery or some other problems that humanity were they had, they're coming up, we declared that humans had opportunities to work, to study, and to be open in the world. So we humans are free. We humans are have the same condition. We don't have the same conditions, okay, for the inequalities that we have. But in terms of dignity, we need to be respected. We need to be tolerant with different opinions or different point of view or religions, culture, background, whatever in the world you are. So unfortunately, human rights were not used totally in all these contexts, no, in in all the contexts, in the circumstances that we expected, that we imagined. So as educators, we can use every single day in our small rooms, because every single small room is like a continent, or like a country, because you have different races, different people, different backgrounds, and they come from different cultures. So in one country, you can see different backgrounds, okay? For example, if you travel to Mexico or you travel to Ecuador in Latin America, you will see diversity, indigenous people, you will see Afro, mestizos, okay, white people. Same thing happening in other continents when we see a variety of background. But every single people need respect, need to be respected, need to be tolerated in their differences, in the circumstances. So we as educators, we play an important role in the rights of these people. So it's very important that we can share with our students, with our colleagues, and we transform the society step by step, because it's very important that the Declaration of Human Rights is not only a statement, it's more than that, it's a word transformation. As a global citizen, okay, that I confirm myself, I will say that human rights is for everybody. So every person, everyone who is in another country need to be treated in the same condition as well. So education is a basic human right, okay? This is one of the statements that the Declaration of Human Rights states many years ago. So men, women, okay, when they come out of poverty, okay, so how they can leave out poverty. Education is the first step, because thanks to education, people can see the world in a different perspective, right? They can see the instruction, they can use the educational tools in order to improve themselves as human beings first, and then they can study or follow a profession, okay? So, but education is the first steps, no? And apart from the considering the instruction, values are really, really important in order to transform the society. Without it, we will have only perfectionist people who wants to look for perfect things, but we don't have human beings. So, and the world needs human beings, more people that are tolerant, more people that give their best, and brings love and compassion. So human rights, gives the best opportunity for educators to support their small classrooms and the institutions where they work. So in consequence, that is the reason why we use education in terms of the consolidation and the transformation of a different world as human beings. So the Declaration of the Human Rights don't only expect that we only know or read the statements in different Congress or different sessions that we have, no? So it's a lifestyle. So we need to respect people and tolerate others in order of love and human rights and education. So it's very fundamental that we as educators need to transform it. And in my opinion, I think that we can transform, we can change the vision of different things in our small classrooms. So it depends on the way that we can promote this or the education through the Declaration of Human Rights. No, so it's basic. The first one, that every single person has the same opportunities and deserve to leave out the inequality in the world. Thank you so much for this. Is the introductory part that I can share with you.
Thank you very much, Andres. I will read a little bit about who Andres is. Yes, we didn't get to introduce him, but let's listen and let's see who Andres is. Why is he promoting human rights in education? Thank you, Andres, for telling us and explaining the difference and the necessity of having human rights in education. Okay, Andres Rodriguez is from the Faculty of Philosophy in the University of Guayaquil. He has a master's in curricular design. He is vice rector in academic in the University of Guayaquil. He has a master in pedagogy in national languages, a master in TESOL from the University of Casa Grande in Guayaquil, Ecuador. He is an English teacher training and an English coach since 2020, and he is also a life coach. Andres has been working as an EFL teacher for more than 10 years in different Ecuadorian high schools, language centers, and universities. Besides this, he has participated in an international TESOL course in the Kansas State University in 2013. Also, he has participated as an English teacher training TESOL methodology course awarded by the American Embassy in 2019. Lately, Andres has focused on doing action research since 2017. He was working in Liceo Naval High School and he has implemented the use of blogs to integrate reading and writing skills in the international baccalaureate with second diploma students. In 2019, Andres presented some topics in some congress in Quito and Guayaquil. Also, he has participated in Piura Congress in 2019. During the pandemic time in 2020, Andres took up his webinars presentations every Saturday. His special guests are international and Ecuadorian. This is a contribution to the EFL community. He has already presented in different workshops in Ecuador, Peru, and Mexico. Officially in 2021, he began his own online academy called World Language Academy, with the purpose to support with different methodologies to many people who are eager to learn the second language. Through this year, Andres has presenting some online conferences in other countries, such as India, Pakistan, Mexico, the Philippines, and Thailand. The topics were related to English language instruction and life coach. In addition, he has developed a YouTube channel for his webinars. Just in case you want to follow Andres, and yes, every Saturday he has a webinar for English teachers, which I am honored to have participated with him this year twice. Yes, thank you, Andres. If you have any questions, write them down in the chat. We will get to answer them at the end of all our speakers. Okay, thank you very much, Andres. Any comment, Corina?
I will keep my comments for the end. I think it's better to give the honor to our speakers, present their work first, and at the end, maybe I can interfere. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Corina. Well, we have our second speaker. Yes. He is Ambassador Professor Adrian Daisley, and his topic is the role of education in promoting human rights, harnessing digital innovations for advancing human rights. Okay, thank you, Adrian. The microphone is all yours.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Rita. Welcome to this webinar on the role of education in promoting human rights. Today, I will attempt briefly to share from my experience on harnessing digital innovations for advancing human rights. We all know that digital technology has emerged as a powerful tool in promoting and protecting human rights globally. This webinar aims to explore the key achievements the key achievements, challenges, and the future prospects of leveraging digital advancements in the context of human rights. During this insightful session, we will delve into the progress made thus far. We'll also examine the transformative impact of digital technology on human rights promotion. We will also address the obstacles encountered along the way, as well as the lessons learned from various initiatives worldwide. We also highlight the importance of global collaboration and efforts in leveraging digital innovative technology. By attending this webinar, I hope that you'll be able to gain some valuable insights in the potential of digital technology to advance human rights causes. I also hope that you will learn about some successful initiatives and best practices, which will be covered by our next speaker. Also, I hope that you gain a comprehensive understanding of the challenges faced and the lessons learned, empowering you to navigate and overcome obstacles in your human rights endeavors. Ultimately, this webinar aims to equip you with a roadmap for leveraging digital innovations in the pursuit of human rights, allowing you to make meaningful, impactful, and contribute to a more just and equitable world. With the advent of the internet and digital technologies, we've seen that information is now available and accessible on every level. People can now access a vast amount of knowledge, news, and resources with just the click of a finger. This increased access to information empowers individuals not only to be informed of their rights, but also it enables them to be advocates themselves and for others. Digital platforms such as social media has provided individuals with new avenues to express and also, interpret their opinions to the public in engaging in public discourse. People can voice their concerns, share their stories, and raise awareness about human rights abuses on a global scale. This has given marginalized groups and activists a powerful platform to amplify their voices and to advocate for change. Digital innovation has connected people across the globe, transcending geopolitical, geographical boundaries. This interconnectedness has also facilitated collaboration among human rights organizations, activists, individuals, leading to more effective advocacy and sharing of best practices, i.e. our conference today. Online platforms on social media have played a critical role in mobilizing collective action and raising awareness about the rights of each individual worldwide. And digital platforms have empowered individuals, have not only empowered individuals and communities, but has also given them an understanding of, the rights that they have and the violations that have been perpetrated against them. In the years gone by, we didn't have access to technology. And so lots of people didn't really have access to the information. But now the information is dispersed far and wide because of the benefit of digital technology. We have online petitions, we have media campaigns, and we also have crowdfunding initiatives that have played a pivotal role in helping us mobilize public opinion. The internet has also provided unprecedented access to information, allowing people to educate themselves about the rights that they have, including myself. Being a leader, sometimes we think we know, but the more I get involved in work as a humanitarian and a human rights ambassador, the more I realize that we really don't know what our rights are. And so education is definitely a great tool. That is why I love this opportunity to speak on this platform. Online databases, educational platforms, and digital libraries have revolutionized access to knowledge through what we call, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is something that is being debated now in universities, whether or not students should be allowed to have their theses written or the dissertations written by ChatGPT, and that is another conversation for another day. But we also see that with technology, we also can transcend language barriers, which often hinder the dissemination of human rights information and collaboration across borders. And if you've worked across borders, you know that language has been one of the biggest barriers for us as we seek to not only transmit our information, but also understand what our counterparts or collaborators are really trying to say in the nuances of their language. It also facilitates communication by instantly translating the text, providing real-time language assistance. And in my case, that is very good because I can have conversations with persons in Mexico, like Dr. Rita, for example. And it is also ChatGPT is also helping researchers with policy research, legal research. And so we're going to see our first digital lawyer who is going to be versed in all forms of human rights. And we're going to have our plates full, as we would say in Barbados, when that happens. But I also want to say that we can engage in conversations about the ethical implications of emerging technologies at a later date. Today we're looking at not only benefits, but we also have to understand that with the benefits also comes risk. We have to look at the access to technology not only as something that gives us information, but it can also encroach on our own personal information. And that brings me to the fact that even though AI is making and digital technology is making information more accessible, it's also raised the question of what information should AI have access to? What information should digital technology have on me and my family? I am a very private person. Anyone who gets to know me would realize I'm a very private person. And this is because in the age of technology, anything you put on online is out there forever, and we don't think about these things. When I post a picture of myself, just relaxing somewhere, I'm not realizing that, a potential ambassador in another country is going to see that picture and maybe interpret it in a different way. And that's why, digital technology has given us the opportunity to cross barriers, but it's also exposed us to other barriers as well that we would have been able to be shielded from before. I also would like to say that, while digital innovation has brought numerous benefits, they have also raised concerns about data privacy and security. The collection of analysis of personal information is something that we have to be aware of. If you hire a person, let's say you're in HR and you're hire a person, how much information should you keep on that person when that person is no longer in the job? Now, these are things that, I'm sure that human rights lawyers will deal with. I'm not a human rights lawyer. And so we will leave that for that conversation. But despite the significant achievements, we must acknowledge the challenges and also look at the full potential of the digital realm in advancing our human rights. And to bring this to a close, we would like to say that, bridging the digital divide is crucial to ensure that everyone exercises their rights online. It's important that you know your rights. If I walk down the street and I have a conversation with anyone and I ask them, tell me 15 human rights that you have, lots of them are not aware, and it isn't their fault. It is access to information. And so we're going to be looking at lobbying governments and speaking to governments about the fact of including human rights into the understanding of our educational curriculum. We're going to be looking at talking to leaders who have influence over the masses. What is your policy on human rights? If you're going to be a politician in my area, for example. We also need to look at the fact that, we have cyberbullying, hate speech, and threats. Having two teenagers myself, I'm very aware of how access to technology can also encroach on your mental health as well. And so even though we're talking about the benefits of digital technology, we have to give the other side. You can't have one side without the other. It has its benefits and it also has its drawbacks. And I hope that from my short talk, that you were able to glean some information to help you look at tackling online abuse, while upholding the principles of free speech, because we have to understand free speech is a human right, but it has to be governed in the context of a digital technology. How do we manage our information, and what information should these, stakeholders have on us? And to close, we've also witnessed the emergence of global collaboration and global efforts on the part of leaders, educators. The United Nations, for example, Human Rights Council has taken an active role in addressing human rights in the digital age. The establishment of special rapporteurs and also inclusion of digital rights in various resolutions are and positive steps, I think, towards protecting human rights online. The Global Network Initiative brings together technology companies, civil society organizations, investors, and academics to promote freedom of expression and privacy rights, just what we mentioned earlier. The initiative establishes principles and guidelines for companies to uphold human rights in their operations. You can see from my presentation that I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about the fact that I think digital technology can take us into a further field if we embrace it and we're not afraid of it. And we're going to have to look at also digital technology access to those who do not have access to it, not only because of classism or where they're situated. We're going to also look at, when governments restrict the use of technology, that is also something that we're going to have to address as well. And so I'm very obliged. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day. Cheers. I hope I stayed in my time. I'm not sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you did. You still had a few minutes to continue speaking.
Okay, I
but
can continue then.
You can continue. You want to continue?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was just cautious at the time.
Okay.
We also have to, we can also mention that the Freedom Online Coalition, which is an actual intergovernmental coalition committed to promoting and protecting human rights online. It aims to coordinate efforts and also among member states to address digital rights challenges and to develop best practices. I would also think that, as we look at technology, we also have to look at addressing infrastructural gaps. Promoting digital literacy, advocating for affordable internet access is very important. And we have to look at empowering the marginalized in our communities. We have to empower them. If we're going to empower them with information, we're going to have to empower them with access to technology. We're going to have to look at regulation and accountability as well, striking a balance not only between people, preserving the human rights itself, but regulating the digital space, as a complex activity. Governments, technology companies, civil society must collaborate to develop responsible frameworks and that protect individual rights while addressing concerns such as misinformation, online hate speech, and privacy breaches that I would have mentioned earlier. I would have also thought that out of this conference that we can use, some of this data set information to input into systems that we can look at, because we have to come out of this mentality that I am in this by myself, doing this on my own. We have to have this collaborative approach to bringing digital awareness and the use of education as a tool to transform our society. I would also mention that we have to have robust safeguards, transparency, and accountability mechanisms. This is what we need to protect individual rights. We have to understand that we who have the information have to make the information available. Gone are the days where you had to go to a certain place to get information. Look at us. We are sharing information that people would have otherwise years ago had to have to go online and do research, or maybe go to a library. You know, we can bring the information as experts in our own fields. You know, you don't have to be a human rights specialist to understand that human rights belongs to each and every one of us. Digital literacy and empowerment is important. So promoting digital literacy and media literacy skills is essential. All governments should be talking, you know, civil society should be talking about how do we empower our people. You know, the gap that we have between the past generation and the new generation, for example, it is a gap that is formed out of the access to technology, because my children's children will have access to technology and information at this touch of a button, like I mentioned earlier. They're going to be able to reason on a level that my generation before could not. Sometimes my kids ask me questions, even in maths, you know, algebra, that I can't answer, you know, and I'm like, where are we going with this speed of transformation that is taking place? And so to finish, I would say that we must make sure that it is known that it is critical to have access to information, effective understanding of our rights, and educational awareness campaigns must be launched in every school, every university, all across our world, to let people know that we don't only care about them, but we also have the information to help them move from where they're you know, they have the disparity between not having information and having access to information. Make digital technology available to everyone. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daisley. Adrian, I don't know if the name is pronounced well. Anyway, thank you. Very informative speech and very catch, you know, you catch our mind and our attention as well. At the end, I will say more. And now it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce actually the heart of this webinar.
Corina, excuse me,
please,
may I read Adrian's bio before?
Sure,
Please, I'm sorry. Yes. And because, yes, we want to know who, and I think they wrote in the chat, they want to know who Adrian is, right? Well, thank you very much. It's a very interesting topic, a very complicated too, because we're right now in a digital world, right? And so it's very complicated and very extensive. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Dr. Adrian Daisley holds a Bachelor in Theology degree, a Master of Science in Organizational Behavior, and several diplomas in Therapy and Human Resources. He has received several honorary doctor degrees from several international organizations in the US, Croatia, Indonesia, Nigeria, Portugal, and India. He serves the satellite campus as Associate Professor of the GPIA and the International Relations Director. He serves as the International Register at the Good Samaritan Theological Seminary. He is a council member of the International Center for Peace and Your Human Rights USA. He received the World Peace Award from WPT Sweden. He received a VIP member invitation from the Arabi African Union. He is the country representative of and ambassador of the World Peace and Climate Change Diplomatic Organization. Thank you very much, Dr. Daisley.
Thank you, Dr. Rita. Thank you, Dr. Daisley, once again. So as I said, I would like to introduce the heart of this webinar, the one who is behind of organizing such a nice webinar for all of you. And she's no one else than Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez, PhD in Science Education. She has a Bachelor in Business Administration, Teacher's Training, Master of Education in the area of Teaching and Investigation, Master in Didactic and Innovation in English, PhD in Science Education, several certifications from Conocer Evaluator, as well as diplomas, courses, and certifications in the educational, technological, and English areas. She currently works as the academic director of a Training and Evaluation Institute for Conocer, teacher and part of the synod at the Instituto de Estudios Superiores in Guadalajara. She is also active member and currently national delegate for the Confederación Nacional de Militares. Hay Profesionistas General Marcelino Garcia Buragan, AC, Civil Association with 5 guiding access, education, health, work, housing, and security in favor of society. Federal Commissioner in Jalisco of the International Commission on Human Rights, active member of the United Nations Organizations for Human Rights and Native Communities, Secretary of Internal Affairs of the Soldana Caro organizations with items in cooperative trade unions and civil association for professionals, international researcher of education by CIDEFED, and active member of REDOLAC, Network of Teachers of Latin America and Caribbean, Continental Director, North America in Global Education Network, international speaker in Spanish and English languages, awarded the Juan Gil Preciado Award for her career in education in the state of Jalisco in 2018. So this is really a great honor to introduce our best, Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez. Welcome, Dr. Rita.
Thank you very much, Corina, for this presentation. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you, Mudin, for letting us share this so important topic for everyone in the world. And we have heard 2 great speakers. And now let's really, they have told us about what is human rights and what are human rights in education, what are human rights for all this internet stuff. But how can we really start using human rights in education? So my topic is about one special way to promote human rights in education. I will start by presenting And before I start the topic and share my topic, I would like to read this quote which is from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all the way from 1948. Every individual and every organ of society shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms. Those rights that Andres told us about in education, those rights that Dr. Daisley was also talking about. Yes. My topic is human rights learning communities. How could we really start working with human rights in education? How could we promote, how could we involve all these teachers and all these students to really share, promote, and educate in human rights? Where, after all, do universal rights begin? In small places, close to home. Unless these rights have meanings there, they have little meaning anywhere. without concerned citizen action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. But to uphold their rights, such concerned citizens needs first to know them. Progress in the larger world must start with human rights education in just those small places close to home. If we don't begin learning, educating, promoting human rights in our houses, in our homes, in our schools, in our communities, in those small places, well, let's begin in ourselves. Yes, let's not talk about schools, communities, in ourselves. If we don't begin promoting them, if we don't begin believing in them, start acting as a human right defender, as ourselves, we will never get to have the world to promote them. So first, let's begin with ourselves, in our houses, in those small communities, which could be our house, our friends, our school. And then let's talk about the whole world, human rights. In this speech, I will talk about the human rights educator, the importance of a human rights educator, the human rights learning community. What is a learning community? The concept. And then we're going to talk about the human rights community learning wheel. What and how can I use this community learning wheel with the human rights? And David Sheeman, which is an extraordinary human rights promoter, which has written some books about human rights in education, makes us ask and answer this question. As human rights educators, we must ask our students and ourselves, how does all this relate to the way we live in our lives? How does this education that we get to see in school relate to the way we live? Can we really promote? Can we really act the way we learn in school? Or is school so separated from real life? The answer to this question will tell us much about how effectively we have taught our students. So I would like you to look deep, search deep down in our conscious as educators, as teachers, as promoters. How does all this relate to the way we live our lives? Are we teaching the correct information? Are we giving the correct knowledge? Are we making good citizenships? Are we making good students? Remember that our students will make our future better or worse. Okay, what is an educator? An educator and a facilitator might not be the same as a teacher. Sometimes teachers just speak and just give information, not really knowledge, just information. And they just have our students sitting there, listening to us, yes, trying to understand what the teacher is telling us, trying to relate, or maybe not even trying to, because there's some other place, their mind, their brain is in some other space, because we haven't found the way to relate human life with our teaching. So an educator and a facilitator goes more beyond. Yes, she thinks about what a student really has to do in a school, someplace, and it doesn't have to be a physical school, because we could teach, we could educate any place in the world. Yes, it could be under a tree. It could be in the garden. It could be at the street. So an educator that wants to promote and teach human rights requires more than knowledge about human rights and experience in facilitating learning. The human rights educator must have a deeply felt commitment to human rights and a belief in their necessity for building a just and a democratic society. I must be, as a human rights educator, as a human rights facilitator, or as a human rights teacher, if you want to use the word teacher, I really have to be committed. I really have to be a personal promoter. I don't have to speak. I just have to be looked at and say, oh my God, oh, she is a human rights promoter. She doesn't have to tell us about human rights. She promotes it with her activities, with her actions. So that is what a human rights educator needs. To believe in human rights with her actions. What are some challenges that a human rights educator has to look up to? She must continue learning. And this goes, maybe I'm limited to human rights educator, but it's not really human rights educator only. It's for every teacher, for every educator. We must be eager to continue learning, look for information. Now, as Dr. Daisley says, we have the information, in our hands, because we have our cell phone and we just need internet to look for whatever we want. So, we don't have to go to and look for a library and buy a book. We don't have to go and look for any other place or look for those great teachers and ask them about information. We have it, as we say, in our hands. So we have to continue learning. We have to go on the effective way. We have to be a human rights educator. We have to look for that effective affection for our students and for our human beings that are all around us. We have to have that affection, interest in everything, and not just the human beings, because we're talking about human rights, but animals also have rights. Nature has rights. The world, the planet, Earth has rights. So we have to look for that effective side, yes, in ourselves about human rights, about human respects. We have to be really self-conscious to have a self-examination. What am I doing right? Am I really promoting human rights with my actions? Or I'm just blah, 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 blah about human rights? Yes. Am I just saw somebody, my neighbor needed help. No, I'm really busy. I don't care about what he or she needs. I'm leaving. Yes, I have to go to work, or I'm tired. And I'm always talking about respect, helping people. I think that is not, I think I have to do a self-examination because I'm not congruent with my actions and with my saying, right? And of course, this has to do with the example. I have to be the example, the living, the walking example of what I'm talking about and what I'm promoting. What are some qualities that a good educator, and I didn't write human rights educator because I'm talking about all of them. And if we're a very good teacher, if we're a really good educator, we educate in human rights, sometimes without knowing it. So one of the qualities that a good educator, a good human rights educator must have is a sensitivity to the feelings of individuals. I have to care about all the individuals. I have to care about every person, about on animals, on trees. Yes, I promote human rights, but then I see a tree or a plant and I step on the plant. Oh, I don't have a good feeling for that plant, right? And I say, respect everyone. But I have to respect my planet too. I have to take care of my planet too. Sensitivity to the feeling of the group. I have to think of the individual, one person, but I also have to think of the group. And maybe not the whole group has the same purpose or have the same feelings. For me as a group and individual, they have to have the same importance. I have to have the ability to listen, not to hear. And maybe someone is blah, blah, blah in one ear and it goes through the other. It comes out through the other. And okay, it's so interesting. Okay, thank you. But I'm not really listening. I don't have the ability to listen. When I have the ability to listen, yes, I have to keep quiet, pay attention, look at the eyes. Yes, I have to really be interested in what the speaker is telling me. And then I have to know, if I have the ability to listen, I will know if my speaker wants me to give him an advice or just wanted me to listen. Yes, maybe just listening is a very good action and will help the other person. I have to have tact. I have to know how to speak and how to give the advice. Yes. And I have to know how to maybe correct an error. Yes, it's not, oh, you are wrong. Everything that you say, you are wrong. Yes. No, I learned a long time ago that you can disagree nicely. Yes. So with very nice words, I could say that I don't agree. And this, we see it every day in politics, right? We don't agree in everything in politics, but I don't have to start fighting every time I don't agree. I can say, well, I respect you, but it's not my thinking. And so we have to have tact to speak, to give an advice, or to correct an error. A commitment to collaboration. I really have to have that sense, that action to know how to collaborate. Not just to say, okay, I'm going to help you, but I don't want to. No, I'm going to help you and I'm going to collaborate because I really want to make a better world. I really want to make this a better place, space, maybe classroom, maybe community, maybe family. A sense of timing. Yes, I think this is my great mistake. Sometimes I don't have sense of timing because I want to speak, and I want to share, but I think this is what I have to work on. Yeah, so we also have to say, okay, it's time for you to be quiet. It's time for you to stop acting and let others act too. A good educator has the quality of flexibility. Yes, okay, there are rules, but sometimes we have to maybe not break them completely, but maybe just go around and look for some other way to act. Yes, maybe I said the timing was 15 minutes, but I needed 1 minute more. Yes, or that student needed 1 more minute to speak. I needed to listen. Maybe it was time not for me to preach. Maybe it was time for me to listen. So we have to have flexibility too. Those are the qualities for a good educator. A sense of humor. That's okay. What a boring educator when it's just, okay, just plain speaking. Don't stand up, sit down, listen to me, work. Don't ask me questions. No, let's make some jokes about it. Yes, like I just said, timing is my problem. I don't have that quality, but well, we're working on it. Resourcefulness and creativity. And let's look, maybe human rights is not a topic that everybody likes to learn. Let's look for some creativity. Let's make it fun for students to be interested and that they could work on human rights too, because it's very important for us, all of us, to know about human rights. What is the concept of a human rights learning community? Here we have communities. We have communities everywhere. I just said it. A family is a community. Our neighbors. Yes, us and our neighbors is a community. Our street is a community. Our classroom is a community. Yes, our friends. We also make a community. Yes, we have different communities all around our life. So what we're talking about is really look for that small part of the whole world, of our whole world, and to make it a human rights learning community. Its aim is to promote and enhance effective leadership and responsible action for the realization of human rights. A human rights learning community should also support and strengthen the personal and professional development of the facilitator and the participants, of the educator, of the teacher. Yes, we also have to see how we could continue studying, we could continue learning. We don't have to stop with what we know. We have to help promoting our personal and professional development. As I said, a school, a town, other organizations, associations, yes, all of them need to look for a place, to create a place to learn, which is valued and safe and connected with others. And we already know that in school, schools have initiatives, very important initiatives. Different schools, according to their necessities, will look for space schools, for peace schools, for maybe projects, reading projects, yes, writing projects, depending on what the necessities or what the program leads to them. So if a school needs a peace, a safe school, so a school also needs a human rights promoting education. Every community works to assure peace and security, housing, education, or food, on an understanding the interdependence and universality of all their needs as human rights. As we said, life is a human right. Beginning with our life, living, yes, is a human right. Eating is a human right. Yes, being listened to is a human right. So this is, every community wants to promote human rights, even if they don't really say as it is. Reclaiming our human rights enable us to share a common vision, speak the same language, and practice responsible actions toward one another. That is what a human right really looks for, a real common vision. A human rights learning community believes in individual, cares for individual, and also cares for a collective, as a collective. And as individual, its belief is to promote the personal and the professional development. Now, let's see. Oh, this is a lot of blah, 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 a lot of speech, a lot of words. But how can I act? What is the action to in a school? Well, we use a human rights community learning wheel. A human rights community wheel suggests 8 elements for educators and participants to reconnect with other workings with a common vision, shared language, and unified practice. Inviting each member to act in community, encourage inspiration, exploration, creation, collaboration, and transformation. This human rights community wheel suggests 8 elements, but they don't have to be those elements. We could add, we could subtract. They don't have to be these that I'm going to present. It all depends on the needs and maybe the age that we're working with. This is the wheel, the community wheel, which it says to inspire, know, value, connect, heal, act, reflect, celebrate. Inspire. You know that when we are inspired, when there is inspiration, as you can see right now with me, I am inspired to be here with you. I am inspired to share. So when we have inspiration, we like to share. So first of all, we have to be inspired with human rights. We have to be inspired to be educators. And we have to be inspired to share, to be with individuals and with a community. So first we have to look for that inspiration that our students need or have to learn. No, of course, if we're going to share, we have to know, right? We have to have that knowledge to be able to share. I cannot speak about something that I don't know, that I don't promote, that I don't share. Value. Well, we have to know, I think all of us that are here, we value the human rights. We value each and every human right that we have. Even though that sometimes we miss 1 or 2 human rights, we don't know about them, but we value them. And we have to inspire our students to value them. Connect. We have to connect with our students, and it's just not connecting by looking at their eyes. No, we have to connect with their mind, with their body, with their heart, and with their spirit. Yes, with each and every student that we have in this community. We have to heal. That is why we talked about effective, the effective part of the educator. We have to know how to heal when one of our students is in need. When even us, we sometimes need that healing part, right? And sometimes we receive it from our students, not from another educator, from our family. We sometimes receive it from our students. Act, of course. Remember that when we have knowledge and we don't know how to act it out, well, what is knowledge for? We have to know how to use those human rights. We have to act, reflect. Well, all these human rights, we have to know how to reflect them with other people. And maybe we begin at the inspiration. When we reflect our human rights, we inspire other people. And we have to know how to celebrate. Yes, because I will celebrate this webinar after we finish it, because I did my job. Yes, and I think I'm doing it good. Well, I hope, right? In the comments and the questions, then I will know if I did a good job here. But we also have to teach our students to learn how to celebrate their good actions, their promotion to human rights. But, well, this wheel, as you see, it's round. A wheel is round. And a wheel has to go round and round, and we could begin any place, and we could take any place. Yes. And we could continue once and again with maybe I want to celebrate first because I'm here. Yes. And afterwards, I will do it again. Maybe I will value human rights first. That is why I'm going to start teaching. I will act. First, I'm acting. Maybe I'm acting and I don't know that I'm acting on human rights. And then I will start with the wheel again. So as you see, we don't have a first place in this community learning wheel. We could start wherever we want, and we could also change, and we could add more elements, not just those 8 elements. And I would like to finish my presentation with Eleanor Roosevelt's quote: "The destiny of human rights is in the hands of all our citizens in all our communities." Thank you very much. We know that the questions will come at the end. Thank you for
Yes,
listening.
I said before, Dr. Rita, that Mr. Andres and Professor Dubey, or I don't know exactly his name. Let me check, because I don't want to do any mistake. Daisley, yes, Daisley, Adrian. You also catch our attention and also our hearts with these wonderful presentations. Thank you so much. Really, really inspired, as you said, and you make us to act. Yes, thank you for this. So let's give the floor to the next speaker and the last one, I believe. Yes, and she
It's
is
correct.
okay, and she is Dr. Andrea. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so welcome, Andrea Anderson.
Okay. Would you go ahead and read my bio, please? That way we can kind of know who I am.
Of course,
Would you-
of course,
please-
I will,
Thank you.
yes, of course, I will present Dr. Andrea Anderson, yes, from the USA. Her topic is how educators use Educate to promote peace on the collegiate level. Andrea is a native Wisconsin, USA. She is the founder and CEO of Chai Strategic Coaching Academy and a certified Maxwell Leadership Coach, trainer, and speaker. Andrea is a faculty member of Self-Talk Institute and a college professor at Tulsa Community College, Connors State College, and Tulsa Technology Center, teaching humanities, social sciences, and leadership development courses. Andrea is a board member of Share Every Global Foundation and serves as a mentor in their mentoring program. Andrea's vision and calling is to serve God with passion and my fellow human beings with compassion. Thank you very much, Andrea. The microphone is all yours.
Okay, thank you. I had to.
We have an echo. Do you
Yeah.
have to?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Okay, because I couldn't hear anybody before. Now I can. Okay, well, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Rita. Okay, I changed my topic because I made a typo. So it's how educators use education to promote peace and change on the collegiate level. And I've never taught anything but college students, and I love college students because I can't say they're my age because I'm older than they are, but they're just interesting. They're interesting, especially those in America. How educators can use education. It is vitally important. Why? Because number one, do you see this? We need to transform lives. That is our calling as educators, to transform lives. Why is education so important? And we all know the answer to this. And first of all, I want to thank you. This has been so fascinating. The doctor who spoke about technology, oh my goodness, I am technologically unsavvy. I always think I'm responsible for everything bad that happens in the universe when it happens to technology, because I know nothing about technology. But he gave me hope. And Dr. Rita, when you talked about the 8 wheels of community, and then you said that we can add things on there, I love that. And I take notes. I wrote it down, took my notes, so I appreciate everything and all the topics that everyone has spoken about. But why is education so important? We know this. Number one, it boosts confidence and hope. Napoleon Bonaparte said, leaders are dealers in hope. We have to have we have to have hope. There are 8 billion. I said, wait a minute, let me double check that. So I double checked that reference to make certain I was correct. I thought I was correct, and I am. As of November 15th, 2022, so that was less than a year ago, according to the United Nations, somebody show me by their hands how many people are on Earth. Or if you're unmuted, tell me how many people. Say, what are you saying? Type in the chat. You saying 7? Okay, 8, according to you. I thought there was 7 also, but there are 8 billion people according to the UN. So as educators, we have to help our classes, our students, educate them to boost confidence and hope. And I'll tell you why a little bit later. Education is going to promote independent thinking. We're not autonomous. We all think alike, do alike. No. We're individuals, and we must celebrate people's individuality. That's important. God made us as individuals. There's no snowflake the same. Everyone, even if you have an identical twin, your fingerprints are totally different than anyone. We're unique people. We are individuals. So we have to promote individual and independent thinking. Listen to this, and I'll show you this. I can't wait to get to this part. Education inspires problem-solving skills. Everyone here would raise both hands, both feet, if I would say, do we have problems in this world? Yes. I think America has more problems. People won't tell you this. I think America has more problems than any other nation in the world. And I say that because I live here and we see everything that's happening in America, and some of it's not good. But education is going to inspire problem-solving skills. I teach humanities. I don't know whether I have that in the Bible, but I teach humanities. And we know that humanities is the study of the origin of humans. My favorite part is prehistory until the Renaissance. I stopped right there at the Renaissance. So I stopped at the Dark Ages. We end with the Black Death. And then the next humanities second half is the Renaissance. And we know that Renaissance simply means rebirth. So every semester, I have my students work on a project. Again, the class is humanities. So we call ourselves the Humaniteam. HUMANITEAM. And Humaniteam, we call ourselves the Humaniteam Project. What we do, I have them choose 4 topics and develop a strategy on helping, healing, and giving hope to humanity. Guess what, folks? Newsflash, the United Nations is not really doing that at this time. And I know we've all read that, what is it, 2030, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Do you realize that 7 years from now, less than 7 years from now? So we've got to get busy. So since the United Nations doesn't seem to be doing, maybe they are, but it's up to our students, it's up to us as educators to help them do that. So I have them choose 4 topics and develop a strategy. I want them to think outside the box. Again, we must think outside the box. What worked thousands of years ago today, my friends, is not working in circa 2023. We've got to present the challenge after we find the challenge, discuss the solution, and present the solution. You said, well, what kind of problems do you look at? These are just 15 of just quickly, global hunger. There is no reason why we should have global hunger in the 21st century. Come on now, people. There's absolutely no reason that we should have global hunger. There should not be any food deserts anywhere. Am I my brother's keeper? Absolutely. Then number 2, we have to talk about rogue dictators and rogue nations. Why do we allow them to continue on destroying and decimating their people? 3, neo-Darwinism. That's a mouthful. In Darwinism, we all know what Darwinism is, simply saying survival of the fittest. No. Everyone has the right to survive. I believe Dr. Rita mentioned that. We all have a right. We all have been placed in here by Creator, made in the image of God to survive. So who are we as human beings to say, you're not important, you're not important, you're not important? Who are we to say that? Am I my brother's keeper? Absolutely. Every 56 days, I get a phone call. And sometimes I just answer and say, okay, I'm coming in. And the phone call I get is from the Blood Institute because I have O negative blood. Only 8% of the people, human population, have that blood. That means I can give blood to every human being, but I can only accept blood from O negative people. And they use my blood to save people's lives. So am I my brother's keeper? Yes. I hate giving blood. They always say, well, Andrea, what arm do you want to use? I said, how about using your arm? That doesn't work. But we have to, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I can't emphasize that enough. Give blood, help people. So no one is better than anyone. We are all level. We're all human beings. Okay, then what's with this with the racism, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism resurgence? What is that? We're human beings. We're each other's keeper. Come on now. We all have something to offer. Next, we talk about border control, the global refugee crisis. America has a huge stat. We all know the Statue of Liberty. Give me your poor, your tired, your huddling masses yearning to be breathed free. But then when you try to come to America, what do? Oh, we don't want you because you don't look like us. You speak with an accent. You know what? Everyone here, I'm probably the only one here that I'm learning another language that only speaks one language. And imagine everyone here speaks more than one language. So we need you to come and be the hope that we've been waiting for. We talk about global warming, modern day slavery, human trafficking. There's got to be a solution to that. We talk about terrorism, internal, external. We talk about social media. Oh my goodness. Our ambassador professor, he liked that one. Social media, the global rights for women. How many of you know women, we're kind of important. You know what? There's a saying in America, she that rocks the cradle rules the world, because women are raising men and women to rule the world. And then we talk about, this is one of the students don't like talking about that, but we do talk about that, female mutilation or female circumcision. So those are the things that we do. We can solve the problems, and that's just a little of the problems that we are facing in the society. Again, education is going to open the doors. It's going to open the doors for people, again, to what? To transform their lives. It reduces poverty. Once we can teach people, the students with their education, it's going to reduce the poverty, and they can go out and they can help someone. A person who has no food, how can you help another hurting person? You can't. So that's why we use that to reduce poverty, and it increases political development and rather involvement. Well, development and involvement. We complain, especially in America, we complain about our leaders. Well, what are we doing to change it? We need to raise them. Educators, raise up more leaders. Raise up, educate students to be leaders. And then education builds empathy and tolerance, especially when they start, my students study human trafficking, when they study global hunger. And I said, well, they said, well, that could be us. We want to do something. We want to do something. We want to do something. We must do something. And then education is going to cultivate respect. But again, the key word is going to be, am I still audible? Okay, good.
Yes.
So, okay, good. It says unmute, start speaking. Okay. Instill empathy. As educators, what are we going to do? We're going to instill empathy among the students. Okay, I'm going to close with this. So the key for betterness and completement is simply education. So we have to use education to promote peace and change. Again, we can't afford to wait 7 years. Well, in 2030, the United Nations, we've been waiting all along for the United Nations. They still haven't done that much yet. So we've got to do something. Let's not wait any longer. We have to do something. And how do you do it? With human rights education. We've talked about that today. Environmental education. You know what? If we don't have an earth, we don't have people. Where the 8 billion people going to live? International education. Sometimes in America, we think that we're the all to be all. I love my country. I love America. I have a special place in my heart for India, but I love, because I'm with Share Every Global Foundation, but we have to step across the border. We have to reach out. I have to reach out to Nigeria, reach out in some of the other countries, to Mexico and other countries that are being represented today. Conflict resolution. Can we just sit down and talk about it? Please, can we, my friends, just sit down and talk about it? If you spell the word listen, listen, L-I-S-T-E-N. In that word, L-I-S-T-E-N, you're gonna see the word silent. You ever notice that? L-I-S-T-E-N, the word S-I-L-E-N-T. So while I'm listening to you, I must be silent because I've got to hear what you're saying, because what you're saying is so important. And what you say, what I say, what we say together, we can change the world. Why? Because we're our brother's keeper. And then development, and you know what? Oh, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. We can get along, and developmental education. So again, thank you for this opportunity. Again, look at this. This is a stop sign in America. Never stop learning. As educators, we must never stop learning. And as educators, what must we do? This is my favorite doll. We've got to stretch our students, stretch ourselves. You know what? When we stretch, he reverts back to his original. This is Stretch Armstrong. He reverts. So we've got to stretch ourselves. And you know what? Stretching is painful. It hurts, but we must do that. And the reason we must do that, my friends, because it's our job to what? Change the world. We've got to change the world. And where does it begin? It begins not with just me, not with just thee, but with we. And you know what? One of our favorites, especially in America, I guess she was global, she was known globally. Tina Turner, passed away a couple of days ago. And one of her signature songs, I'm just going to leave you with the title. And I want you to look at yourself as that. Look, when you hear that for one line of that signature song, that is what my friends are with this organization. You are simply the best. Thank you. Shalom. Have a great day. Oh, good morning.
Thank you, Andrea. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, what a way to end our webinar, right, Corina?
Yes, very, very true. What to say? Really wonderful. So, because the time it's gone, and we are almost at the end of this wonderful webinar, as Rita said. Let me to make like a short resume of what we have today. So our first guest of the day was Mr. Andres Rodriguez, and he shared with us that human rights in education, we hear that education is one of the most powerful tools in lifting excluded children and adults out of poverty, and is a stepping stone in the other fundamental human rights. Wonderful. Congratulations, Mr. Andres. The second guest of today was Professor Daisley Adrian. A great speech indeed of our guest. I liked very much the idea that he shared with us about collaboration between different organizations with the purpose to raise awareness about human rights. Yes, so I totally agree with you, Mr. Daisley. This is the best way in order to get what we want to get, collaboration. A very, very important point we all have to think about. Thank you, Mr. Adrian. The next speaker was our dear Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez. And what I remember, something from the start, on one slide, there was something like that. Every individual and every organ of society shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms. And also, one quote of Eleanor Roosevelt: the destiny of human rights is in the hands of all our citizens in all our communities. Very, very right. Thank you, Dr. Rita. At the end, but not the last, we has Mrs. Andrea Anderson from USA. What I remember, what Napoleon Bonaparte said, a leader is a dealer in hope. Yes, true. She also said what was working years ago is no more working in 2023. That's why we have to adapt, and totally agree with this. The other point I remember from her speech is no one is better than anyone else. It's something I agree and also believe in too. So thank you so much, Mrs. Andrea Anderson from USA. So with that, thank you once again from the bottom of my heart to all our respected guests present there today with us, and for everything they shared with us, such nice information and also informative presentations. I cannot leave before to say thank you, Mr. Mohiuddin Bhuiyan, the founder of Global Education Network, for providing us a platform where we can learn from each other. Of course, thank you all who joined with us today. Your support really means a lot for Global Education Network, for us. So with that, I wish you all best of luck and see you in our next session. Stay tuned. Over to you, Miss Rita, if you want to add something. Thank you.
Thank you, Corina. Thank you, Mudin, for this space for us to
Thank you,
share.
everybody.
And thanks to everyone that is here, everyone that stayed from the beginning to the end. We really hope that you enjoyed our presentations, that you learned a little bit, and you were inspired to act on promoting human rights. Thank you very much, and have a great day, great night, great evening.
Okay, thank you. Welcome on the behalf of Global Education Network. And this session was very great. All of the speakers was very great. I am very grateful for your great presentation. I hope next time we'll arrange same as and more as great presentation by leading Rita, by leading Adrian, Andy Anderson, and all of our today's speaker. Thanks again. Okay, can end now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
More than a
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you so much.